Many of you might not have a job in 2030. Artificial intelligence, machine learning is going to come along and take your job from you. That was announced within the last 90 days, and there's been a lot written about it, a lot discussed about it. And I want you to think about where you are today. If you look on the screen there, you'll see probably the greatest hockey player ever, Wayne Gretzky. And he's famous for a quote. He's leading goal scorer of all time, and he was asked, Wayne, how do you score so many goals? Does anybody here know what he said?
Put the puck in the goal.
One at a time.
I go to where the puck's going to be, not where the puck is. And I want you to think about that for a second, because where we are today, 2030 is just 12 years away. If you're a young man like Tyler, 12 years sounds like a long time. Conversely to Mark, 12 years, wow, it's a snap. And yet we all go through that same change. And if you look here, what you see on a very simple graphic, the top line is Generation X, born between 1965 and 1984. The millennials are down below, 84 to 2004. And all I want you to look at is, where are we today with ages? Ranging from 53 to 34, 34 to 14. That's where you are. But look what happens as you move across in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. These ages rapidly move across. And according to McKinsey, in the year 2030, there will be 300 million new people in the world age 65 or older in 12 years. Tyler and I share the same profession. And I get asked many times, and it's typically by the couple. They're 40-ish. They've got 2 kids, they're both working, and they sit down and they say to me, what should I be investing in? And my response back to them always gets me this response that looks from them like, are you kidding me? Like my hair's on fire? Something's going on there. Because I say to them, what have you done in the last 24 to 48 months to invest in yourself, with your skills, to help your job and your company? These quickly moving ages here will show you how technology is occurring. And if you don't know who Mary Meeker is with an investment firm, a hedge fund, venture capital firm out in Silicon Valley, and annually she puts out her Meeker report. It was 264 slides this year, and she went through it in 30 minutes.
I just saw that.
It is the most, it's out on there, you should read it. But what I want to point out to you today is 2 things. One, lots of people use the internet. People who use the internet now outnumber those who don't use the internet. Think how that has rapidly changed. Secondly, jobs won't be stolen by robots. Retail jobs took away farm jobs. And what's happening now is freelancers are taking away retail jobs. What are freelancers? How many of you used Uber or Lyft? That's a freelancer. How many of you need a design and you go out to the web to go to Fiverr, F-I-V-E-R? You can get designs made, you get things done. Freelancing is changing. In jobs, you have to invest in yourself. You have to find a way to raise your skills up to meet the oncoming change that's occurring, that technology, artificial intelligence, and machine learning is going to do away with a lot of jobs. With that said, I'm now going to open up for questions that you might have about jobs for yourself, your children, or your grandchildren in 2030. Yes, sir.
Actually, I have a question about what impact you think the large wave of baby boomer retirements is going to have on McKinsey's analysis. We're going to have a large exodus of folks from the workforce in the next 10 to 15 years.
It's already been proven that this exodus of people coming out of the workforce is a drain of intellectual capital. I had an example here that occurred back in the 1990s. TI was going through a hard economic time, and they offered up voluntary retirement, huge packages. And the people that took them were the people that were the most talented people. They took the package and they turned back around and started their own company. TI, 2 years later, was buying up the companies to get their talent back. The other thing you're seeing is people think that age 65 is retirement. How many of you know people today that are in their 70s and even 80s that continue to work?
My parents are 83.
That they work either because they have to, or many times they work because of choice, because that is retirement to them. I think it will have some impact, but I think we overestimate the impact that's out there. Next question. Chris.
How are you positioning yourself differently based on this information in your firm?
One of the things we continue to do is to find ways to utilize what's called fintech, financial technology, to change our processes and what we've done. In the last 3 years, we've averaged growing between 20 and 23% in both the accounting firm and the wealth management firm, and we now do it with 3 fewer people. That's what's coming. Tyler.
One of the big changes I've heard about this study, or one of the effects that it might do, is the first thing that robots may be replacing on a large scale is drivers and our transportation industry. And this would potentially create one of the largest job displacements that's ever happened in America. What effects do you think that job displacement would have on our entire country and our economy?
You're already seeing that job displacement occur if you think about warehouses.
Right.
The warehouse 10 years ago involved a lot of people walking and moving things, using their own forklifts, doing things of that nature. Today, you have fulfillment centers that are automated to the 90th percent. The 5% of actual loading and the 5% of actually sometimes sourcing where that's going on has changed. But think about the difference that's gone on there. The technology being used in the warehouse has to be made by somebody. And so that job has changed to be a different point. What I would tell you is, and I've used this illustration before, in the 1980s in South Carolina, the textile mills that were there typically employed about 100 people each. And let's just say for that day that they made 1,000 widgets and they sold them at $10. Today, that same textile mill employs about 30 people. They make 10,000 widgets a day and they sell them for $2.50. The owner's excited about it. The employees that are there are excited about it because they continue to make higher wages. The banker's excited about it because they're really a good customer. And the people that sell them the technology are really excited about it because it's what's going on. Who's not excited is the 70 people or so that got laid off because they never adjusted their skill set to meet what's coming. So if you're correct, and I'm not sure I completely agree with all of that, but let's go to self-driving trucks. There's going to be a lot of truck drivers that are out of work. But there's a lot of technology that's going to be going into putting those together. There's going to be repairs that are going to occur. The industry's going to shift. People have to find the skills to shift that way. I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.